Hey guys, this is Khan, TDK Mr. So Real, and the Division 1.2 patch is bringing lots of changes, especially to the loot and to the PvE section of the game. So today we're going to take a look at some of these changes in the loot table, and we're also going to be taking a look at what kinds of things you should be doing when the 1.2 patch is available. So let's take a look. After the Thursday special report live stream went out, there was a special blog post that was posted called Loot Revamp in the Update 1.2. In this update and in this blog post, they go over and highlight some of the changes that were being made. One thing that they said was that they wanted to add more consistency in the activities for us to get stronger gear and enjoy the game. A few of the complaints were loot drops didn't feel as rewarding due to the rare upgrades and the low gear score. Crafting is still the best source for 204 weapons and loot drops. The supply drops in the Dark Zone were very underwhelming. And basically the only source for the better gear was through the Incursion. So they decided to do something about that, add a few things to the PvE, and also change the way that loot drops throughout the game. Yesterday I uploaded a video called What to Do for Patch 1.2 0 to 182 gear score. Now this video is going to be focused on the over 200 gear score players, so I'm going to try to make this as short as possible because the amount of things that the 200 plus players need to focus on is considerably less than the under 200 gear score players. Now with that being said, the daily missions and the challenge missions won't really grant you any serious rewards that will get you up and above in the 240 range. So that's really what our goal is, to try to get as high as possible and to try and get as many 240 items as possible. In terms of PvE content, the search and destroy and high value target missions do have some things to offer to the lower 200 gear score player. If you're in the lower end of the 200 spectrum, then some of these things might be useful to you. So let's take a look at some of them. For the 200 plus player, what you're going to want to do is to try and prioritize the high risk target weekly missions. Now in order to do these, you'll have to do the search and destroy missions to get the intel points. Once you have enough intel points, you'll do some of these high value target missions, and then that kind of leads you up with the intel points to do more. Now the high risk target weeklies are going to cost quite a few intel points. I'm really kind of curious to know if you're in a group, if one person does the search and destroy missions, or if you do it with them, but one person buys the high value target contract, is the other person or the other people in the group, do they have to pay for the high value target as well, or do they get to keep it? If they get to keep it, it would be in your best interest to roll with a group and try to get as many people together to do these missions together. That way, one person can spend money on a high value target and everyone gets the reward. And this can kind of scale up to the high risk target weeklies. If everyone is doing the search and destroys, they go faster, you get all of the intel faster, and then you can get faster to the high risk targets. And that's where you really want to go. So let's look at what will you get for the high value target daily, weekly, and the high risk target weeklies. The high value target daily missions will grant you a chance at 182 high-end or a 214 gear set. There's also a chance for a 191 gear set. The high value target weekly gives you a chance for 182 high-end or a 214 gear set. A chance for 214 gear set. The high risk weekly has you get a chance for 204 high-end or 214 gear set. There's also a chance for 240 gear set. As a 200 plus player, one of the best places for you to get the loot that you're probably going to use is going to be from the Dark Zone. The new Dark Zone 200 plus bracket is going to have quite a bit of challenging enemies in DZ5 and DZ6, with them being at level 34, but they're going to net you some of the best loot in the game. So let's take a look at what is available in DZ1 to DZ6 for the 200 plus bracket. In DZ1 and DZ2, you'll be up against level 32 enemies. They're going to drop 182 or 204 high end, or they can drop a 214 to 240 gear set. Not bad. In DZ3 and DZ4, you'll be up against level 33 enemies. They'll drop a 182 or a 204 high end, or they'll also drop a 214 to 240 gear set. Now remember that depending on where you kill the enemies, you'll have a better chance at getting higher drops in the harder areas. So you'll be more than likely to get a better drop in, let's say, DZ3 or DZ4 than you would in DZ1 or DZ2, but the chance is still there. Now in DZ5 and DZ6, you'll have a chance to get a 204 high end or a 240 gear set. So this is probably going to be the best place if you are geared or you have enough gear to get you in a position to kill a level 34 with a pretty decent amount of ease. As a 200 plus bracket player, you'll also have access to something that the under 200 players do not have, and that is the sealed cache. Inside the sealed cache, you'll get DZ funds, gold division tech, weapons, armor, and even gear sets. So these are something you really want to look out for, and if you are lucky enough to pick one up, then hurry up and try to extract it so that you can see what kind of goodies are waiting for you. One other thing of note will be the changes to the supply drops. Let's look at what you get if you get a supply drop in the 200 plus bracket. In DZ1 to DZ2, you get a chance at a 182 or a 204 high end with a chance for a 214 or 240 gear set. DZ3 and DZ4, you have a chance at a 182 and a 204 high end, and there's also a chance for a 214 or 240 gear set item. In DZ5 and DZ6, you have a chance for a 204 high end or a chance for a 240 gear set item. Be on the lookout for the supply drops because now they're no longer dropping purples, which is a great thing, and it'll be worth the hassle for killing the boss and fighting off other agents. The last thing that I want to cover is the new Incursion Clear Sky. So at the release, the hard mode Incursion is the only thing that will be available and the challenge mode will not, so you'll have to wait a week for that to come out. But the rewards are known, and we might as well talk about that for the hard and the challenge mode Incursion. So let's take a look at these, and pretty much my suggestion is if you are of level, you should be trying to do the hard mode Incursion either after you go to the DZ and see what kinds of stuff you get, or if you're trying to be a world first, you already know you're going in to go and try and finish it and be the first group to do it. So let's get started and talk about what kinds of drops do you get from doing this new Incursion. As a 200 plus player, I'm sure you've already kept up with the news and you know that there's been a change to all of the Incursions, including the one from the previous DLC. So now you can do the Incursions as much as you want and get some pretty decent loot. This is going to make farming the Incursions a lot easier and a lot more rewarding. So let's look at the hard mode boss drop. The hard mode boss drop will drop a 204 high end, a 214 gear set, or a 182 or 204 high end, and there's also a possibility to get a 214 or a 240 gear set. Now the weekly reward for the hard mode will be a 204 high end weapon or a 214 gear set. Next week the challenge mode will be out, so the challenge mode boss will drop a 204 high end weapon, a 240 gear set item, or a 204 high end, or again another 240 gear set. The challenge mode weekly reward will be a 204 high end weapon or a 240 gear set. Trying to get these done as soon as possible to get even better gear is going to be the priority of most of the high level players. With the new gear sets being available at the launch, this is going to make things a lot more interesting, and people will be able to customize what kinds of skills, sets, and players they want to be. So that's pretty much it for the new stuff that'll be in the 1.2 patch and my recommendations. I'm sure many of you high level players have already decided the kind of things that you're going to do, and maybe some of your friends might be on the verge of getting to 200, or they are 200 but they weren't really keeping up on the news, so you might want to show them this video. So that's pretty much it, and I really look forward to seeing the new changes and the new meta for the game. I really want to try out the new gear sets and the new weapons. Leave a comment in the comment below what you're looking forward to most. What kinds of things are you going to try and get into? What things do you like? What things don't you like? And let me know what you did first in your run in the new 1.2 patch. Alright, so that is it. I am Khan, TDK, Mr. So Real, and until the next video, I'm out.